Talk some politics. A race for City Hall will get a whole lot clearer at the end of tonight, we hope. That as we've reached primary day here in New York. We're going to have live coverage of primary coverage across the board here on 5S1 News and RNN. That begins at 10 p.m. right after the presidential address and our extensive coverage on Syria. Now, a reminder, polls close 9 p.m. tonight. And Andrew, let's give everybody a snapshot going into today where things stood.
Well, Rich, the city race offering the least surprise tonight, the Republican primary for mayor. Joe Lhota with a 2-to-1 lead in the latest poll and looking good to win without a runoff. On the Democratic side, Bill de Blasio is the primary night frontrunner, but how big a lead he has depends on the poll you check. Poll averages have him up 16, with Bill Thompson seeming to edge out Christine Quinn for second place. No one else even in the running. That race for second could be the one to watch, since the leader, Bill de Blasio, needs 40% of the vote tonight to get out of a runoff, and only one of the 5 most recent polls has him over 40. If he comes in below 40%, de Blasio would face the number 2 Democrat in a runoff 2 weeks from today. That's October 1st. Rich? Thank you, Andrew. Now, the polls, they're one thing. The mood of the voters is another. And Dominic Carter's been out talking with voters here today and getting a pulse here where they stand. I think you can always tell a lot, you know, more than even the numbers, what people are saying the day of: enthusiasm, disinterest, whatever the case may be.
Well, Richard, based on the voters that we talked to, you are correct. Tonight has the making for a very good night for the man that came out of nowhere, Bill de Blasio. He's the man of the hour tonight, hoping for the best, but planning for a runoff. So, Mr. de Blasio, are you telling us it's your plan to hit the ground running tomorrow, you and your wife all over the city?
Well, tomorrow is 9/11, so we're going to obviously recognize that very, very important day in this city's history, a very tragic day, and I'll be at the memorial ceremony. The next day, I think campaigning will resume in earnest. My point is the team will be retooled and ready for the runoff in the morning.
In the polls, de Blasio has surged, coming out of nowhere and actually battling Bill Thompson for African-American support. We stopped by the popular Harlem restaurant, Sylvia's. But you would think the black community would be going with Thompson.
He did. I didn't see him. I mean, you didn't see much of him until the last minute. Where did he come from? Why didn't he do it in the beginning? Why didn't he get in the beginning? It was as if he got in when Christine Quinn lost her luster, and he thought maybe he had an easy win. And then Bill de Blasio came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So I think people are like, he's run a lot of times, maybe he not really serious, but looking for an opportunity to win, an easy win. He should have been in it from day one if he really wanted it.
That's a familiar theme we heard about Thompson. Is his heart really in the race?
Shirley and I have talked to Dante many times about the fact that someday he will be stopped.
Thompson or de Blasio, why is it so tight with the black community with those two candidates?
Oh, I mean, I think their positions are fairly progressive, both their positions. I just think perhaps de Blasio has been out front on a number of issues, and I think what Thompson probably ran the risk of is just being should have been more vocal early on and continued to be so. I mean, he almost won the last election.
Others praise de Blasio for putting his family out front.
Looking fully for Mr. de Blasio.
You're looking forward for Mr. de Blasio?
Yes, I am.
Now, isn't the African-American community with Thompson? I mean, but everybody's telling me about de Blasio.
Well, I had a personal experience with him that made me feel very strongly for him. I like his points on stop and frisk even. I like his points on even the ad was very smart to not hide his family, but to actually show his family, to make us feel a connection to him beside the pomp and circumstance you get when they tell us what they want to tell us.
It looked like de Blasio was the head runner in this race, so I don't know. You might have some surprises.
And what about some of the issues? Again, it turned to stop and frisk.
But I'm a city worker, so without saying, my concerns is salary, raises, stop and frisk. So, you know, I listened to the candidates, but I picked the one who I thought was more for the New Yorkers.
Thompson has gone up in recent polling. Thompson has 2 challenges tonight. One, does he do better than City Council Speaker Christine Quinn? And more importantly, does Thompson stop de Blasio, Richard, from obtaining 40% of the vote?
It's amazing. That snapshot here, it really captured the two big issues for the African-American community and others were the ad, where he humanized himself in the family, and the kid probably has got the most famous haircut going here with the afro, and the other is stop and frisk. And I think by getting out in front of it while everyone was calculating their positions, it's the smartest thing he could do. And speaking of de Blasio, our own Sam Liebman, she is at de Blasio headquarters in Brooklyn right now. And Sam joins us with only a couple hours to go till the polls close.
That's right, and they're expecting Bill de Blasio here around 9 o'clock. Now, it's not certain whether he'll be, as you were talking about, celebrating a decisive victory, getting 40% and avoiding a runoff, or just celebrating an entry into the runoff. Now, I heard some people today at a de Blasio event on the Upper West Side who were Democrats, but they feared that de Blasio may lose to Joe Lhota, who's the front runner on the Republican side, and they were pushing for Thompson instead of voting for de Blasio. That may be something that people could consider when they're thinking about people voting in this primary tonight. But it looks like there's a lot of momentum for de Blasio. When we were at the campaign event, there was a line of people who wanted to greet him. Now, he's a very of the people type of candidate. And in fact, this is not going to be a traditional celebration here. They're going to actually have a block party outside of this venue with food trucks. So that's a little bit different than your normal political event. So we'll have to see how that turns out. So we're just waiting for de Blasio to come here at 9 o'clock, and hopefully we'll know the results soon after. For now, that's the latest here from Brooklyn. Back to you, Rich.
Well, thank you very much. Enthusiasm, as Dominic's seen firsthand here in the field, certainly on the de Blasio side. Now, on the other side, Joe Lhota, and how much of a formidable candidate he'd be. Well, our own Fox 1's Christy Duffy's at the Midtown Hilton, where they're going to be certainly celebrating. Lhota expected to win going away as a Republican nominee. Christy?
Rich, things are still getting set up here at Lhota campaign headquarters, and heading into election night, he is holding on to a staunch lead over Republican rival and billionaire John Catsimatidis. Now, the latest polls show that Lhota will be tonight's clear winner with nearly 50% of the Republican vote, and the deputy mayor, to Rudy Giuliani, is also expected to get the endorsement of outgoing mayor Michael Bloomberg. His opponent, Catsimatidis, is expected to only get 25% of the Republican vote, according to the latest polling. And both Republican candidates, you should know, are also fans of the stop and frisk policies of the NYPD. Lhota also campaigned on using tax incentives to get more affordable housing in New York City, as well as on overhauling the city's tax system. We're live at Lhota election night headquarters in Midtown. I'm Christy Duffy. Rich?
Well, thank you very much, Christy. We'll be checking in throughout the night. And it's about all the time that we have here. Programming, man, there's a lot coming up this evening. 9 o'clock, coverage of the presidential address will be Address the Nation Live. We'll take that for you at 9 o'clock. Then we'll get your reaction, plus experts. And then at 10 o'clock, full primary coverage here, including not just the mayor's races, the Nassau County executive race, the controller's race, and others. And our anchor team of Megan Vega and Jim Watkins will be joining you then as well. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again at 9.